Hey everybody, welcome to the Capture Scratch Podcast, the show where we explore the worlds of film, television, and the creative process that brings all of these stories to life. Today is our Cooking with Glass episode. Joey and I will be discussing some of our favorite lenses in our kits. Hey Joey, how's it going, buddy?
What's going on, Mike? I'm doing well. How are you doing?
Doing pretty good. So you have a great outline for our talk today.
Well, first, Mike, before we even get into that, I'm just going to Howard Stern you a little bit. I don't know if you've seen Private Parts, but it's a really good movie in, I don't know, some respects. But first, I got to say, I'm really down with this daylight savings time. I don't know about you, but I don't like it.
Yeah, daylight savings time is a very, very rough time for me. I have 3 kids that all, they go to bed at, a certain time. So then by the time we get to the next, whether daylight savings time ends or starts, it's always like, okay, now the whole thing flips on its head. Even though it's just an hour, difference, it's just, oh man.
Yeah,
they think they're doing us a favor by giving us more light, but yeah, it's rough.
I do slightly like the more light in the morning, but man, this is hitting me pretty hard. And if it hasn't been for a couple of more like horror related news, this eternal darkness overlaying me right now would really be a lot. But the panic attacks are reducing. I think it's okay. We got some good news coming out. I don't know if you've seen some of the trailers that have come out this week, but we finally got our first trailer for Scream 7.
I did hear about that, Joey, and what's crazy though? I knew we were going to be talking about it today too. And I didn't get a chance to see it. So,
oh my God, do you want to watch it really quick?
Sure, let's give it a watch, and then we can do our reaction to it after that. To avoid any potential copyright claims, we are unable to show the trailer here on the podcast. Definitely check it out on YouTube for yourselves, and watch Scream 7 when it comes out February 2026.
What is your initial feelings?
Oh, I mean, I'm blown away, dude. I did like that opening the B&B bit.
Yeah.
I thought that was pretty fun.
Yeah.
And then it's just a really, really cool, like a lot of callbacks. I like the Courtney Cox is in there, and I think that was just I'm pretty excited for it. It looks really awesome. What about you? What are your thoughts on it?
Yeah, I'm excited. I hate that there's the controversy with the firing of Melissa Barrera and everything with the Carpenter sisters, because I like them too. I'm a big fan of the entire series, so I wish there was a way to make it all work together, and I wish Neve Campbell wasn't exiled from the last one the way she was. But I mean, having seen everything, I'm really excited for it. I think it's great to have Sydney back. I think her having a daughter named Tatum just touches me. I love that we have a reference to Tatum, who is a great character in the first film.
Absolutely.
I think it's gonna be good. I'm really excited for it. I think I'm nervous for the Meeks twins. Just because they're the last piece of the requel pieces of it, so I'm curious to see what's gonna happen to them, and I'm curious to see what old faces we see in this one.
Yeah, it seems like there's a lot of callbacks, so I'm sure we'll see. The trailer did a good job of giving us a nice taste, though, I think, and it also seems pretty fun as well with like I thought that was interesting too, of again bringing into the modern era with like the phone, and then they're like like figuring out where he is on the phone and stuff like that. I thought that was interesting too. That could get a little like not sure where it's going to go with that, but the only other thing I was thinking was that this is every trailer though. It's like it feels like it gives so much away though. I feel like I know a lot of beats now. But I mean, that's just every trailer you watch. So hence why I tend to stay away from trailers a lot of the times, and I kind of try and stay as blind as I can. But especially with the hype of Scream 7, like, how could you stay away?
I hope there's like tons that's just not showing us yet. I feel like the only person who's really great at trailers is Christopher Nolan. I feel like he's the only one where you can really see a lot of beautiful visuals and not have any idea of what's coming in it. Something I'm curious about with this movie is like I'm curious what the theme's going to be. All the Scream movies have a theme. It's like whether it's horror movies, it's sequels, trilogies, prequels, things like that. Remakes is one, but I kind of hope. Something I think would be a cool thing to tackle is the lack of watching movies nowadays, because I feel like they haven't hit on those in 5 or 6. And I think it could be kind of cool to see if it is somebody coming from the past or somebody who's just really like into the past for some reason. Kind of be like, so I would love to see a line of somebody who's like, people don't even watch movies anymore, something like that.
Yeah, no one goes to the theater anymore.
Right? Yeah, it'd be kind of an interesting point of view on it. But I am curious where they're going to go with that. Because I thought 6 was a little because it was just the revenge thing again, and it's great. But I feel like they tried to make it about franchises, but it wasn't as strong for me.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm interested as well to see what they got cooking there for sure.
Yeah, I think we got a lot of good news with horror coming out. And you know us. I don't mean to make the first 3 episodes of our second season to be so tied into horror, but we also got American Horror Stories, got the great 13th season announcement coming out with all of these classic people, including Jessica Lange coming back.
Yeah.
No visuals on that whatsoever, but
I did like the simplicity of that, though.
Yeah, I mean, it spoke for itself,
Exactly. Yeah, they had like the credit scroll, and you're like, oh, that's awesome. They're in it now, and it was a nice, cool little. You got enough of a taste of like where they're going with everything, and then and they kept it nice and succinct, and like you said, it's almost like a teaser, obviously. So I thought that was pretty nice, pretty cool.
Yeah, it was. I mean, it's cool to see a lot of the characters coming back. I mean, Emma Roberts, I've always seen her as like when she's in a season, I'm always like, this is a true season of American Horror Story. Whenever she was there, and I love how they kind of call back to the Coven lines with it, and I don't know. I'm excited to see like Evan Peters and Sarah Paulson coming back because they've been kind of like very fast and loose with participating in the series anymore. But it's a cool series. I think it is the final season, and I'm glad they're going out with a freaking bang. I don't know if I hope it's a continuation of previous ones, or I kind of hope it's a totally original story.
Yeah.
And they just nail it. But we'll see. I mean, it's a cool show that's always pushed the boundaries, and I don't know if I'm a fan of Ryan Murphy or not. I don't know how I feel about him, but I do respect the output. I mean, he puts out so much, that guy.
He knows how to kind of like create a story out of just, it seems like almost just about anything, like especially with the new, I mean, and again, it's like these stories have always been told because they're interesting stories about serial killers, but and again, no matter what you think of them and whether you think they're kind of like, I'm obviously kind of steering away from American Horror Story a little bit just to talk about his, the Jeffrey Dahmer series and the more recent one with Ed Gein. It's like no matter what you think of those series or those stories, it is interesting, that he's able to create such a compelling, like, a lot of people are watching, a lot of people are talking about it, maybe because of the controversy, but also because they're just interesting ways of telling a story about obviously sick and deranged people. So
how do you like those shows compared to like AHS? Because sometimes I feel like I love American Horror Story, but there's sometimes some episodes I'm watching or seasons I'm watching where I'm like, it feels so cheaply made. It feels like television. Is there a stronger look to these other limited series? Or like is like, can you tell, are they actually worried about the glass that they're cooking with here, Mike?
Yeah, I definitely do feel like there's a little more actually I do feel like there's a lot more production value put into these limited series, but probably because like they are limited series, so they do have more of an ability to, for the American Horror Story, you have to think of like, the 10 or 12 episodes of the season versus limited series, you get like, 6 episodes, but then you get to put all your money into making them look good and look and get the production value there, spend the time and put the budget where it needs to be so that it looks that much better. So and also you're trying to nail like period pieces there. And I mean, American Horror Story is the same way, where you're trying to nail, but like you said, it's like if if you're telling a story that's set in a certain time and it doesn't look like it's in that time, then that starts to unravel. Like you said, it starts to look cheaply made and it starts to pull you out of it. Versus, I think they did take the time, and that's probably also why people are really into these ones, because they do actually spend the production value is there for sure, in my opinion at least. Yeah,
I do want to watch them. Some look a little bit depressing / a lot. Man. The one with the brothers looked like more goofy and comedic than the others, but the Evan Peters one, I'm like, I almost don't even want to check it out. But it's funny because I do love horror, and I was curious about them because him being a horror creator and them being more true than American Horror Story is, I thought maybe there might be more stunning visuals to it. Like, I mean, that's what I love about horror films in general. Like I was talking about Halloween last week, or like I think on Nightmare on Elm Street a lot, and how they created a lot of these crazy looks on such a limited budget. But sometimes, I don't know, sometimes it depends. Then you look at something like Sinners, which we've also covered on here, and it's like, yeah, they had the money to really pump into the technology there, and they used it. Yeah. But what are some of your favorite looks in films, or what kind of things do you like to see creators using when they're putting these pieces together?
I think that the best looks are the ones that are, no matter your budget, if you use the technology and you use the you use any techniques and stuff like that in a creative and fun way, right? So like we talked about in the Halloween episode, we talked about how John Carpenter utilized that Steadicam shot and in the beginning, and it obviously it was the long shot. It was like the whole scene was on the one take, but then he still utilized similar shots. They weren't necessarily on Steadicams, but they were like those following shots, like we talked about with the bully scene. Where we get in the car and then we're following kind of thing, and or like even honestly using blocking and things like that as well to tell the story, like we talked about too, where there's that one shot that I love where all the characters are in the one shot and they made the blocking work there. So I think it's utilizing your budget, but also having the creative mind to use the tools in the way that it tells a fun and interesting story, even if it's a story that's like a remake or a rehash of some other story. You're telling it with your own spin by inserting your creativity, and whether that is using like a special effects shot like in Sinners when they were going through all the time in that dance scene, the partying scene, or if it's a shot from Halloween where it's a little bit of a lower budget film that was able to still tell a great story in that way. Yeah,
I go back and forth on that stuff myself, on if I'm more prefer they have the toys. Let's see them play with it. But I think I respect more of they didn't have a lot, but they did whatever the hell they could. Like Jaws or Halloween. I mean, Jaws is a much higher budget, but still, it was like that was going down. We were very lucky that movie became what it was. There's a movie on Amazon Prime that I probably talked about here numerous times called The Vast of Night that has a lot of really interesting shots. But I don't know, something about limited equipment I think is interesting. I'm not a big I have a lot of lenses myself. I'm not big into switching them out. I mean, once we get into this conversation, I might be singing such a different tune. But I like a movie I love, not as much anymore because I'm one of the actors, but Call Me By Your Name. Something I love about that movie is the whole movie is shot on 35mm lenses, or same 35mm lens. And I kind of think there's... Yeah. I think there's something there's a simplicity to that, and kind of I don't know. I think the more you have, sometimes I feel like the more complicated it gets because you have it all there. And especially for me, if I'm filming something, if I'm on a set and I bring all of these guys with me, I'll be sitting there for like 5 minutes between each setup, thinking which one's the best, or if we're a well prepared crew, we have talked about that ahead of time. But even even having it there at all, I think. It worries me for like the temptation. I'm more of a run and gun guy. I like one of my favorite lenses. May I show you? May I just dive right into this? I mean, we're talking about it. I don't know.
I said let's rock and roll, bro.
One of my favorite lenses that I always use for everything that gives me that portability is my 28-70. It's a Sigma.
Beautiful.
How does that get my face in it? There you go. If you had my face, there you go. But it's a beautiful lens. It's a 2.8, which for me, I don't really like going too much lower than that anyway. But 28-70 is a great focal range. I kick myself about it not being 24-70, but then I just take a step back and then it all just works out. But I'm kind of there for like less is more, and also sometimes when you're limited and you do bring just one thing along with you, which is never the case for me. I do feel like you learn how to use it in different ways, but that my 28-70 is one of my main players right here. I love this piece, Sigma 28-70 contemporary. The art one was a little pricey.
No, I mean I 100% agree, dude. Like I'll show off my beautiful zoom that I use all the time. The Canon 24 to 10. Is it gonna go 24 to 105 Z? This is the new one.
Wow.
It's surprisingly light for how big it is, but it is my go-to, like you said. And for a job where I'm not trying to change lenses a lot, it is a 2.8 throughout the range, so you don't have to worry about that, changing with the focal length. And like you said, if I'm just like I need one lens and I'm just gonna be on that all day, that's usually the lens I have. I mean, I have the 70-200 if for zoom's sake. I also have all of these like RF, these little guys, the RF primes as well, for if I need autofocus and stuff. Yeah. So, I have them, but again, if you're like, I'm in the middle of like a scene and there, we're going to be quick and we're rolling, or like for narrative film, or if you're in an event and it's like, I can't really be changing lenses at this event. But I want that, that versatility, then the going with the zoom that kind of encompasses, a constant aperture is great, obviously. And that helps you with keeping.
Oh, it's a constant. Oh, that's great.
Yeah. Oh no, this is like the new one that they just came out with too on the RF mount too. So, I used to use the EF version.
Are you registered to have that lens, Mike?
Right. It's a lethal weapon here.
You out of control, man. Oh my God.
But to your point about, the choice overload, like I also, like you, I have a lot of lenses as well after just like, doing this for so long. And I basically categorized my main lenses that I always go to into 3 categories, and the zooms and primes I just showed, that's my like, if I need autofocus and it's like my daily drivers, I kind of run to them just if I'm like, okay, this is a job, and then I'm just gonna have my Canon lenses, right? But I also have 2 other categories that I'll quickly go through here. If I know I'm going to be on a cinema, I want to be doing cinema stuff. I have my Nisi Athenas, which are the new, they're newer glass, and they have the Cine Gears. I only have 3 of them actually. I have an 18, a 35, and a 50. I do want to get the 85, but these lenses really rock. They're rock solid. They all have the same gear alignment, so I don't have to worry about changing that's like the great thing there. They're all PL mount too, so it's gonna, if I do change systems, I don't have to worry about it. And then so these are like, if I'm good, and I use these for higher paying gigs, and if I want like a cleaner cinema look, I'll go with these. But then I also do have like I call them like my Soviet lenses, which is headed by my Helios here, the 44-2, which is a classic.
Oh my goodness.
And obviously if I want that vintage look, like a little bit of swirly bokeh in the background, then this one is another one I have here. It's the Tear 11A, I think it is. It's a 135 2.8, and then they're over there. But I also have the see if I get these names right. The Mirror 1B, which is a 37 f2.8, and then the Jupiter 9 85 f2. So
37. I like funky ranges. I like ones that.
And that's the thing. They're photography lenses from the Soviet Union. That back in the I think the original design, they were actually Soviet versions of Carl Zeiss lenses from like the 40s.
Very cool.
So the Soviets were like, we're just going to do our own version of it, and they're great lenses. They really give a nice, interesting quality, especially that swirly bokeh on full frame looks so beautiful. And like especially if you're shooting like trees. I'll even for the pod I'll put up some shots that I got with these lenses. I mean they're a great option to choose when you want like that vintage look, the softer look, that kind of thing. And then I'll let you tell me about a couple more of your lenses actually before I tell you about my mystery lens that I just got.
Sure. So as you know, with my full-time role, I do like half photo, half video. So it's kind of like a toss-up between that sometimes with what I'm choosing. Outside of it, I'd say I'm much more video-centric than, but I will show you a photo lens that I do like a lot, and I kind of have a rough relationship with it, is my Lumix 70-300. Here, let me, there you are. It's a great lens. It's not a constant aperture, which is kind of annoying. I think it's 3.5 to like a 5.6, which is kind of a bummer. I use it mostly for sports. Nice. In that realm, aside from when it's indoors, it doesn't really matter a lot. I know I get a lot of compressed background with it, but 70-300, it's something you don't come across super often. It's a very small, light lens for what it is, and it's just a little extra punch across the field that really helps. And I think it's half a macro lens. So it kind of like serves as a macro lens to some degree, and I've used it on like filming bugs and stuff. But it's a really like another workhorse, reliable one for me. I don't give it enough credit for what it really is, but it's like always on my person. But another one I would love to, another couple I'd love to show you is my Lumix Prime. I have a couple of them here. So I got my 85. Let's see.
Oh, nice.
Hide my face. The 35.
Nice. Yep.
And right on this baby right here is my 18. And what I love about these is that they're all about the same size. They're all very small. They're all 1.8 aperture, very, very sharp, fast lenses, and they're beautiful. They're more photocentric, but they're more made for video, so that way if you are using them, you can swap them out easily enough on a gimbal and have the same settings and not have to dial it in too much to change it up to weigh them out. But I find, oddly enough, a lens that I wasn't crazy about, my 85. I like it for portrait photography, but I've noticed for candid filming, event filming, it's kind of a nice light, subtle lens, and I just love the bokeh. It's a great lens. I love the 85. I love the 18. I find myself calling out to them like anime characters whenever I'm looking at my 18. I'm like Cell from Dragon Ball Z. I'm like, 18, where are you?
Right? Yeah, you always have to have the space in your bag for all these things, which is definitely crazy. No, dude, I mean, that's a great kit. And I think, like, obviously having all of these different options really does, it, like you said, it can definitely give you a lot of versatility creatively, because you're like, I have the lens to do it all kind of thing. But then, like you said, like choosing a lens that could like kind of almost be like a Swiss Army knife, like our Zoom's lenses, or like the lens, like my mystery lens here, which is...
What is it, Mike?
It's the TT Artisans 35, if it's going to focus, please. Oh, there we go. TT Artisans 35 f2 2. Or is it T2.1? I think it's T2.1. Yeah, it's T2.1. Thank God, because it's a cinema lens. But the magic trick on this one is that it has two modes. It has soft and bubble bokeh modes with this switch here.
What?
So basically, if you're like, you wanted a bubble bokeh, which is like kind of like the normal spherical bokeh balls, you can do that one, or you move it over and then you get a softer, like more vintage style soft bokeh with this. And this thing is a budget lens. It's $400. It's like a cheap lens. TT Artisans
different bokeh.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And the only drawback is that it has two different focus throws based on whichever bokeh mode you're in. But the cool thing is, like, if you get, so you can't like pull bokeh where it's like changing to the bokeh, because your focus point would change, because it physically moves all the elements in the lens. But the cool thing is you could be between them too. So you could have like kind of muted bubble bokeh if you're in the middle here, or you just have very sharp circular bokeh, or you have the nice smooth creamy bokeh of like a nice. A vintage lens. So I recently heard about this lens and I picked it up because I was like, I'm just so interested in it, and I was doing some playing around on the Komodo with it, and it's I was actually shooting like that light I have in the back there, and with it out of focus, and you just see like the change in bokeh, which is really, really amazing. So
you guys send me some clips of that.
Yes, I definitely will. I mean, it was just on a one of those color cards or whatever. But yeah, I definitely want to actually get some real shots of it, because I only got it a couple of days ago. So
it's for research purposes. I want to know for our future project we might be making together.
Oh, that's the other thing too. It's got all the mirrorless mounts. So I have the RF version, obviously, but then you can get like the L mount because you have your Lumix cameras and stuff. So it's like it's a modern cinema lens that it's again $400, which is, for lenses, that's not a lot. It's one of the cheaper lenses I own here.
I love that they're doing the like different cameras. I mean, I've also seen that with the Pixis, like they're able to have different mounts come with it. It's like, why aren't we doing that? Why has that been a thing that we've been kind of held
especially
back
these third-party companies making cameras? Like Blackmagic, obviously. Yeah, they have like, it's, I mean, I know they're in the L mount alliance and stuff, but like, yeah, give us the PL mount one, and then the EF one, maybe, that kind of thing. Or like you said,
I don't know if Blackmagic is actually.
Oh, are they? Oh, maybe they're not. That's Sigma, right?
Sigma is. I wish Black Magic would join us. Join us.
I mean, it seems like a lot of their newer cameras though do have the L mount, right? At least that's what
they do have it available, but they have like I think all of them essentially. Something I do want to show you. Speaking of mounts that are not our own, a lens that I got. This is the last one that I have here with me. Is my 50 millimeter Canon FD.
Yeah. Yes. Awesome.
I just love this lens. I don't use it very often. It's fully manual. It's manual aperture, which is really cool. But what I really love about it is one of my favorite films of all time was filmed on it, Aliens, by why am I drawing a blank on? We're gonna have to cut that part out. James Cameron, of course. He went right to Ridley Scott, and I blanked. Like, why am I forgetting the guy? But anyway, he used Canon FD lenses, and what was really cool about it was like, even though there are definitely much more expensive alternatives, this lens was actually used on that set. And when you're filming with it, you can actually kind of see it looks very similar to Aliens, and there's just like
cool.
It just goes to show certain glass definitely has certain looks to it, and you can only achieve that by doing that. And I use at work, I use my Canon 78-200 f2.4 I think it is, or f2.8, and that thing's gorgeous. And just looking through it is like, it is a completely different look with the glass. So it's kind of funny that people get really hung up on camera systems. Like, of course we all do. I definitely do it, but I think it's definitely more important to be looking at the different looks that you're actually getting through the glass than
100%.
What you're getting from the camera, because it really makes all the difference in the world.
Absolutely. And the thing about glass too is like the lenses that you choose could honestly you could have them for a career, especially the ones that are like a timeless mount, like the PL mount. These lenses can literally be your forever lenses if you want them to be. So I think that's really cool, is that if you choose lenses that are like really high optical quality or give you that character that you really want, they could be with you forever, no matter which new system, because I mean, all these systems, they're in 10 years, they're going to change the mount probably again, like for Canon went from EF to RF. So I'm going to have to change over to a different Canon, if I stick with Canon, or if I go to Sony, it's like I don't have to worry about dumping my Athenas because they're PL, and I can just adapt it. So I like that versatility of like you'll have these lenses, especially if you invest in them properly, you'll have these lenses forever. But also, like you said, they kind of tell the look more than like people look for lenses much more than the camera body that they're using. They may use a cheaper body, but then they get a higher quality set of lenses so that it has a certain characteristic to it. Yep.
Yeah, now I'm definitely thinking about cinema lenses again. It happens once every 6 months, I think. Mike, I don't know. Well, I don't know what I'm going to do.
I would definitely suggest looking into this TT Artisans one for sure, because like it's a 35 too. It's a great focal length, and
all right, I might have you send me some of the specs on that actually. I know we're running out of time for this episode, but I do have to ask before we wrap up this great episode on equipment, what is your favorite focal length?
I think I'm gonna have to go with 35. I just like that it's like got the same normal field of view as a 50, but it's not a 50. You get a little more width there, but you're not going too wide where you start getting into the distortion. 24 is good too, but then you're starting to get into that, like we're getting wide, especially on a full frame, a sensor, you're starting to get to the wide end, and then 18, and you just keep getting like, the possibilities of having any barrel distortion, that kind of stuff. I like the 35 though, because it is a nice field of view that gives you a little bit wider than normal, but it's still in that normal range, but it gives you a little bit more to work with on the in the width department. What about you?
I think I'd have to say if I was using a prime, I'd be 35 as well. But whenever I use my zoom, kind of a little in between. I've been kind of toying around with 40 a lot. Just because it's a slightly different look. 50 I think is too close. I want to like 50 more. I want to be on that train with everyone, but it is just like not my favorite focal length really. It's just a little too tight, but 35 I think leaves a lot of great room. There's a lot of versatility with that, and like I was saying, with run and gun, if that's your piece and that's what you want to do, I think it's a beautiful choice. I think 35 is great.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. And I mean, I'm definitely not knocking. I mean, every focal length I think has their space, but the one I always find myself going to for primes, yeah, is definitely 35. And to your point, I do kind of feel like it's basically between like 20, 25 and 50 or 60 is usually my zoom range choices as well. But yeah, I think 35 is like the sweet spot for me for sure. Thank you all for listening to the Capture Scratch Pod. If you enjoyed today's episode, please subscribe, like, and comment, and share your thoughts on today's topic. Stay tuned for our next episode where Joey and I dive into a new film that he's been the DP on, She Cries Murder. Until then, watch movies and always check your Capture Scratch. Take care.
Mike, they're on sale.
Wait, what? No way. The TT Artisans?
No, I'm just making a joke.
Oh. I was going to say, because I just bought this thing at full price.
Oh, no.